Hello, today for review I've got Shanling's updated version, or actually not updated version, it's just yet another model by Shanling. It's Android digital audio player, it's M6 Pro. So if you thought about FiiOS M11 and M11 Pro, situation is indeed pretty close. FiiO released M11 using AK4493, and then after some time they released M11 Pro with AK4497 and advanced amplifier. FiiO used THX amplification schema. Shanling some time ago released M6 Android app, but they used the 4495. I will add links to the description, and sometime later they released M6 Pro. This player is also using double AK4497 as digital to analog converters, and also it features improved amplifier made by Shanling. It's not THX, it's just their own proprietary amplification schema, and of course they also raised the price. If M11 Pro costs about $670, this one is a bit above $750. If I remember right, it's sold for $760 or so. So about $80 more or so. Of course, the player has a lot of interesting features. Some of them I will cover during this review, but probably few I need mention in advance. So there are features on the back side: 4.7-inch HD screen, 4 GB RAM. Here used Snapdragon chipset, if I remember right. Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and so on and so forth, so as usual. Let's probably proceed. What else I can say about specs? Here it's capable of gaining up to 600 milliwatts of power from balanced output. Of course, supports highest resolutions, Bluetooth with all codecs, Wi-Fi, so on and so forth. Let's proceed to the review itself. As you can see, package is stylish. Shanling always know how to create a stylish package. Bluetooth codecs listed here, of course, high-res audio certification, and as usual, box has 2 layers. So outer part and inner is nice blue textured cardboard. So inside you will get the player itself. Let's put it aside for a while. And let's go deeper. Unfortunately, no case in the accessory set. I really liked that in the past companies had such habit of adding cases to the accessory set, but no. So as you can see, the protective film and wipes and tool for gluing it, so everything that you will need to apply the protective films. And here, pretty obviously, we will get a USB cable. So that's it. Nice, good USB cable. No cases, no additional adapters. Well, maybe they could add at least silicone case, but no. Shanling has a nice tanned leather case available, so just add $30 or so and order it with case. In terms of design, as you can see, it's a noticeable step forward comparing with regular M11, but it still has Shanling's signature design features. M11 was, M6, regular M6 was pure black, while this one has this, I don't know what is it, gray with a bit of tint of gold, or I don't know, titanium color. Looks really nice, stylish. All edges are rounded. Front panel is covered with rounded glass. Back panel is also made of glass, looks really pleasant, feels really nice and solid in hands. So let's do some quick size comparisons. As you can see, thickness and sizes are almost similar. So M11 Pro looks a bit bigger, but it's because of case, so absolutely no big difference. Both are on the margin of being pocketable. On the left side there are 3 playback control buttons and slot for microSD cards, so it supports all existing microSD cards. On the right side there is a LED indicator and, as usual, signature clicking wheel, so you can press it to turn it on and off, and you can rotate it to change the volume. So nice encoder used here, good clicks, well defined. And on the bottom there are different outputs, so balanced output and another balanced output, so 2.5mm and Pentacon, and 3.5mm. As usual, it can be used as a line out, and a USB port, so it can be used for charging, to access the contents of memory, to use it as a transport, to use it as a digital to analog converter, so that all basic feature set. It supports quick charge, so battery is 4000 milliamperes per hour. It will give you from 7 and up to 13 hours of work, because it highly depends both on gain and listening volume. But also Shenlink found one interesting idea. They allows you to choose between single and double digital to analog converter. Screen is nice, good viewing angles, good resolution, really well looking, but of course it's not edge to edge, so there are borders at sides, at the top and the bottom, so no edge to edge screen. Unfortunately, it would look nicer, but nowadays in the DAP world, manufacturers just use what they manage to find. In terms of firmware, it's Android 7.1 with a few additions. Unfortunately, Play Store is not working. I installed Play Store from CoolAPK. It works on iBasso players, for example, but not here. Maybe in some future Shenlink will add Play Store support, but not yet. So if you're using UAPP or paid version of Plex, just keep that in mind. But using the CoolAPK and APK Pure, you can install all streaming services, clients, and pretty much all of software. Of course, besides the regular Android, there are a few additions that Shenlink added. So in Bluetooth menu, where you can turn it on, there is a Bluetooth amp mode, so you can use it as a receiver. And the most interesting, of course, it's audio settings. So you can select headphones, phone out and line out. You can select one of the bypass filters. Gain, there are 3 levels of gain: low, high and turbo. And you can select, actually I think it's single-ended, I mean that use single digital to analog converter or dual with single-ended output. Balance volume on boot up, wireless playback quality, and also in this menu you can enable AirPlay receiver mode. So swipe controls, and also vast majority of these controls are dubbed in this drop-down menu. So gain and single dual DAC mode really impact the work time. In the single digital analog converter mode on low gain you can get more than 11 hours, but activating dual digital to analog converters and higher gains reduce work time to 7 hours and sometimes even more. And as usual in Android players, it really depends on how often you will use the screen and so on. Also, there is a separate application for the firmware update. Also here, frequently asked questions, user guide, and option to contact Shenlink. But of course, the main staple of the firmware, it's Shenlink's created player. It has side menu, so library update, manual, automatic, what folders to scan, what to add. And also here is all songs list, only high resolution ones, so as you can see scroll is pretty nice and smooth. By album, by artist, and you can see there are all songs and albums of this artist, so it's pretty convenient. Tracks, you can view all tracks by artist or albums, so nice smart way of grouping everything. Genre, playlists or folder browser, so you can use the folder browser if you like the organization as it's done. Wi-Fi transfer, UPnP, and SyncLink. It's a feature that is similar to FioLink and HibiLink, so Shenlink decided not to call that Shenlink link. It would be hard to pronounce, so they just call that SyncLink, so you can remotely control this player. And settings, so a lot of settings: sleep timer, resume playback, go to next folder, HWA codec you can activate additionally, equalizer absolutely regular band equalizer, USB playback mode, DSD to PCM native or DSD over PCM, pause when headphones disconnect, automatic library playback transition. It's when you tap, if I understand right, when you tap on the library, go to playback or stay in the library screen. Lock screen, turn on and off, reset library, theme, so you can select white if you like, but of course I think everyone will prefer black one. And language, lot of different languages, or you can select the one that is installed in the system. So let's select some track to see the playback screen, and also sort order, playlists, mass management as usual. So, and here is playback screen, add to favorites, add to playlists, equalizer, additional menu, and lyrics, and additional information about the track. I hope that train will pass more or less quietly this time. So nice animations, everything works pretty smoothly. Actually you can check out the display, pretty good viewing angles and brightness, so it's good here. So firmware is pretty stable and mature, no issues with it. Of course I miss Play Store a little bit, but besides that Shenlink really polished their firmware for their players pretty well, and it works really reliably. And of course about the sound, Shenlink gave a lot of different sound tweaking options, so this description will be done using the dual DAC option on the medium gain. I switched now for low gain because, as an example, I'd like to use these earphones. So, you know, really good and logical combination. Shenlink definitely tweaked their flagship earphones for their flagship player, but other they are pretty sensitive, so here I used low gain, but usually I used mid gain. And that's the case when this single and dual DAC mode makes a difference, and like my suggestion, always use dual mode unless you want to save the battery life, to get more battery life, because in dual DAC mode it's sounding more dynamic and actually more mature. Difference isn't huge, but it's audible, so dual DAC mode when it's possible. In terms of sound, you know, it's still really easy to draw some parallels with FiOS transition from M11 to M11 Pro. Basically, this one is like M6 sound, and with the similar additions that FiO done, But of course it's the Shenling tuning, and that means this player is not as natural as Fio's offerings. It's trying to be a bit more engaging and a bit more colored and a bit more fun sounding. Before making this review, I read some reviews on the internet and watch some videos. So in some reviews authors called this M6 Pro as natural and monitoring, but I'm definitely not agree there, because it's a bit highlighting weight of the lower mids, it's highlighting lower part of mid frequencies, and it gives a bit more analog sound with a bit more boosted instruments, with a bit more vocal presence and so on. So let's proceed step by step with sound description. I probably need to go and calm my cat because it wants something. I don't know why, but he's shouting at the background. Probably as usual he wants me to open the door, so he will exit the room and then he will scream asking to go in. Sorry for this distraction, but cats are great anyway. So let's proceed step by step. Low frequencies are dynamic, engaging, they are not monitoring, a bit of added weight present, but just a tiny bit. So bass is good, it has a nice depth, really good texturing, and at the same time they are not as dry as natural dubs present. Of course this accent is really slight, and it's not done of course via frequency response, just a bit of added energy and a bit of added weight. It means a bit less fast attacks and decays, but also it means more weight, more punch, more kick, so many people like such representation. It suits great for the electronic music, but also it plays nicely with the real instruments. They sounding really full-bodied, a bit highlighted, like acoustic double bass or low notes on fortepianos. They sounding a bit more authoritative than with regular dubs, and it gives you nice effect of presence sometimes. But as an example, I selected Juno Reactor's Showtime. Nice example of electronic music with good punchy bass line and with good bass heavy model. Actually, these ones are really good with low frequencies. If you like fat and rich lows, it's a really nice combination. So with these earphones it's sounding really engaging and really weighty, really shaking, rattling and so on. So all the good words that you can say about weighty low frequencies can be applied to this combo. And mids, I already say they have a bit of additional weight, means more full-bodied vocals, meaning more weight for the instruments, at the same time a bit less focus on the micro contrast. So if you need something that is razor sharp and focused on the micro detalization with extraction of tiniest nuances, probably you need to consider some other player, because Shenling created their dub for those who prefer more integral representation, for those who prefer more analog, more vintage sound. Well, no, vintage is not proper word here, a bit more analog sounding with a bit more weighty, more full-bodied representation. Also it's bit more forgiving for the quality of records. It still will show all the problems with recording, but it just won't highlight them. And it's really good in terms of macrodynamics, so all that kicks, all that emotional things, special effects in music, like the signature canons in the 1812 Overture, for example, and so on, sounding really engaging. Imaginary stage is good, noticeably above average, so in terms of staging, player is really nice. And I can say that depth layering is even better than width here, but width also nice, but depth is even better, and it gives you nice sense of realism. And as an example, actually, I don't know, should I go left or right? So previous or next one? Yes, here is the track. So it's Northern Kings, Brothers in Arms, great super band, best heavy metal singers, just joined together and recorded 2 albums. First one was great, second one was okay, but first one was great, and Brothers in Arms. I really like Dire Straits, but this cover is that case when cover sounding as probably not, you know, as good as original, not the proper word here, because it's not the same, it's really different reinterpretation of this track, but it's as interesting as original probably, and of course it's done really good. Signature vocals, nice chorus, good catchy melody, good cover version of music, a bit heavier, for example, of course. So really recommend it to you, and thanks to that additional weight, this signature male vocal sounding just superb, really engaging. So it's really too easy to fall in love with these 4 gorgeous singers. And treble here, treble has nice extension. It's a bit tiny bit on the softer side, but still sounding pretty realistic. So if you don't want the most natural treble, it's a good option. You know, it's a good balance between like natural treble that is sounding sometimes fatiguing, and softer or recessed treble, like for example Hi-B does. That is really pushed back and it's lacking presence sometimes. No, it's just a tiny bit softened, but at the same time sounding pretty natural and with good layering and good overtones, nice solid attacks and decays, and so on. So basically everything that you will want from the treble is present, just tiny bit softer. And as an example, my favorite Polish jazz band, like I know some other, but okay, I know a few other jazz bands, so, but it's Nechęć. Suppose this time I pronounce it closer to what it should sound, and Nespokojny Relax, not calmful relax. It's a good track with nice keyboard part at the beginning, and fortepiano sounding pretty well with good rich overtones, going to high to treble domain. So Nechęć usually records the tracks pretty nicely, maybe not as superb as, let's say, Blue Note or ECM, but record quality is really nice, and that shows that treble here is also really good. To summarize everything about the sound, natural, mature representation with a bit of added weight on lower mids and a bit shifted towards darker sound, but it's not even close to being dark, just tiny hint of darkness and a bit of added weight to highlight the macro dynamics, to highlight the emotions and stuff like that. So it's really well balanced up for those who like not natural but not monitoring sound. In terms of pairing, of course, it's really powerful, so from balanced output it can drive even pretty power-hungry cans, but from another hand, with sensitive in-ear monitors, it's sounding pretty good. Background is really black, so no big issues with background, actually no issues with background noise at all. Even with sensitive headphones, it's really quiet, so everything is pretty good here. Speaking about the conversions, of course its closest rival is M11. I will just say a few words about the sound. I probably need to make more detailed comparisons. So in terms of sound, it's just, you know, a bit different representation. M11 Pro is a bit more natural, bit more focused on the micro detalization, while this one is more going to the macro style. It's pretty easy to choose, so if you need the maximum level of detail, this one. If you need more highlighted emotions and macro dynamics, then this one. It's really that easy. Also in this price range, pretty close is a Basso DX220, like this one is 750, and iBasso is 900, but iBasso is another step forward. It's more natural, more resolving, more monitoring, and so on. So I need probably to do some conclusions, some summarization. So really, so sorry, of course I need to say a few words comparing with a regular M6. I already did that, but we need to do it in a more formal way probably. So this is a noticeable step forward comparing with M6. It's a bit less colored comparing with M6. Regular M6, you know, it's trying to be more fun, more engaging. It's like Shenling did with their previous models, like different M3s, M2s. They're trying to highlight the sound here and there, giving you a sense of engagement. And M6 do the same, but on a more natural, a bit less than previous M3 and 2 versions. And this one is another step towards more natural sounding. You still will get that hint of the coloration, but less here. You know, it's more mature sound with better staging, with better dynamics, really improved dynamics here, and more audiophilic because of more natural sounding, not natural, but natural also present here. You know, it looks like Shenling decided to go towards more natural sound signature, and I like that, as I'm a fan of such signature, because Q1 is more on natural side comparing with their previous models, and same applies to M6 Pro. They really managed to bake or to create a pretty well balanced player that perfectly fits to its price niche, offering a lot of features, stylish design. Of course, Shenling is always great about the design, and nice sound for those who like something mature but not monitoring. And the only thing that I probably miss is Google Play Store, because I like UAPP. I hope they will add it some one way or another, but besides that, a really good player. Thank you for listening and have a nice day.